Yeah.
You pleased with the turnout so far?
Pardon me?
Yeah, are you pretty pleased with the turnout?
Well,
There's
I
some
am
interest
pleased.
here.
People, you know, a lot of
Yeah.
people still work this time of day.
Yeah.
Or they're exhausted.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to give up time in your life to take on a cause. Let me.
I didn't catch your name.
Gary Kivanimi.
Oh, Gary, I'm Ken Fisher.
I remember we've met before.
We have, I know.
I don't know why or where,
Yeah,
but
well, we're
we've
just
met before.
Two good-looking guys, I guess, you know. Anyway,
Yeah.
you know, I moved here 7 years ago from California.
Oh, okay. We were at
And-
the Reagan Day dinner.
That's right. That's where we were. I just wanted to comment on your comment that this is not about a bridge.
It's not about
It's
a
not about a bridge to me.
No.
It's the tail wagging the dog and unanswerable bureaucrats.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where my passion is to try to put an end to that.
Well, I hope everybody that has your sentiments will speak up tonight.
Well, good. Can we speak, or do we
Absolutely,
Have to, did
you
we
can
have to send
No.
questions
No,
beforehand?
No.
Okay.
No.
Cool.
At 5 o'clock, they're going to give us a little presentation, and then there's a question and answer session, and then the public gets to address them. Unfortunately, them is one person. Chuck Yost is a liaison between the state and the people, and so he's running the meeting, and he has 2 or 3 people in his water quality control department from the state, from TDEC, that are here as well. And they're going to hear a lot that they don't want to hear, because they want to try to limit our comments just to water. And but the rules that the Corps of Engineers establishes for these kinds of things allow them to consider everything that's in the interest of the people.
Good.
And we're going to do our best to make sure they understand that.
Good. I'll be there.
Thanks.
And I'll probably talk. They can't keep me down.
I hope you will.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's good seeing you.
Yeah,
again.
thanks. Years old. Do you know the history? It was over the Elk River between Franklin County and Coffee County. It was built in 1906. So, okay, 1970, someone in the park system decided, wisely I think, let's don't just junk that bridge. Let's bring it where it still has some useful life. So they brought it here in 1970 exclusively to get from the main park into the campground that has 50 spots, and it's supplied that need for over 50 years. And every 2 years it gets an inspection, and every 2 years that inspection rates like 7 out of 10. It also is rated at good. Well, in 2020, that rating goes from good to critical. I must say it's after funds came available, but it went from good to critical, and critical is 4 steps below good. So that's a little suspect in my mind. Well, so we've got historic value to this thing, 118 years old. It's the last remaining truss bridge by that manufacturer in the state of Tennessee. That's it, the last one.
Really?
Right.
Okay.
The design at the top of the bridge is unique to that company. It was the Nashville Bridge Company, I think in conjunction with Joliet Bridge. I've never picked a fight like this before, but I am going to give every bit of energy I have into making them listen to you and you and you and you and you and you and you. And by golly, if they can come up to me, or somebody else comes up to me and say, "Hey Gary, now wait just a minute. Here's the reason we really need to spend $10 million and build a new bridge out there." And by golly, I'll sit down at the table and I'll courteously listen to what they have to say. And I damn well expect them to do the same thing with what we have to say. So, enjoy the cake. This is not only a birthday for the 118-year-old bridge, it's a rebirth day. This is the day that we're going to make sure that bridge is out there another 118 years.
Yeah.
Good morning. Y'all know me, I guess, by now. Yeah. Oh, dear. A couple things. I'm just going to make quick comments. I went over the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers permitting process. And the one thing that stuck out most to me is that they are very, very, very intent in the public interest. They will not approve a permit that is not in the public interest. There is no reason to build a bridge that isn't going to be needed as a vehicular access to the campground anymore. Y'all have a brand new entrance that is completely and totally loved by everybody, including the neighborhood, per your own survey of the neighborhood. You've got overwhelming opposition to this. Overwhelming is an understatement. There's 2,700 signatures on a very valid petition. You've got over 4,000 members that belong to 2 different Facebook groups. You've got a letter of support from the Coffee County Historical Society. You have overwhelming support from Senator Bricken and Representative Bricken and Senator Bowling, and it's absolutely unheard of to continue on against that kind of opposition. The survey from the Country Club neighborhood opposes this project. The campers survey opposes the project. The proposal is in direct contradiction of your stated mission and core value. A face-to-face meeting with Mike Robertson on January the 2nd, he stated that our proposal met all of your stated mission and core values. So how do you justify the risk versus the benefit when you're dealing with a project like this? You have to have a need. You no longer have a need. You have another entrance. The bridge can be repaired easily in place without touching the river, without touching the environment, without messing with the visitor experience. Y'all already have a problem at the campground. Nobody's going to come to the campground when there's cranes and trucks and hauled roads all over the place. So there goes your unacceptable revenue already. You're already dealing with flooding out there. Why are you continuing to push forward on a project that the community doesn't want? This is not your community. This is our community. And we don't want it. It's been told to you for almost 22 months. Amen. Why do you continue to push and push and push with invalid facts, with misstatements, with inappropriate behavior, and then chastise us for inappropriate behavior? The bridge project has to stop because the community doesn't want it. Who are you benefiting with that bridge? The community isn't going to use it. You're going to see less than 1% of the visitors that come to this park use that bridge. And even then, they don't like it. The campers don't want it. So why are you doing it? What's the purpose? It isn't going to end here. I can guarantee you guys, if you're not willing to sit down, our engineering report stated it unequivocally, and they met with Commissioner Salyers today to show them that their engineering report says specifically and unequivocally that that bridge can be saved for less than $750,000. And you want to spend $8.5 million, destroy the environment, you want to put riprap up that you're going to restore the vegetation in somehow. We're going to get to look at that riprap forever, just like on Highway 41 bridge. It's an ugly mess, and you're inside a state park, and your mission statement says very clearly, we are going to support our natural, cultural, and historic resources, and we are going to always preserve the environment. And yet you are deliberately going out there, just like this man said, you got the fox guarding the hen house. This is ridiculous. Y'all need to pay attention, step up, do the right thing.
Please refrain from clap or applause. You know what I'm saying? Please refrain from applause.
Why is that, Chuck?
Yeah, why?
But because I need to keep things orderly.
Not just because.
Clapping is not
because
disorderly.
I would already have the next person up here speaking had that not happened.
Look, we haven't been heard, we've been lied to, and we're angry. It's not at you, but this is our community, it's our bridge, damn it, and we're sick of this.
Darn right.
So yeah, we're gonna clap. This is our town, and we're gonna do what we want, and you better let us, because this is us.
And please allow me to maintain
also do what we need to.
Okay. Well,
Judd Matheny's name, Judd, was probably one of the best friends we had in this ambition that we had to keep this bridge. He wanted this bridge. And I know y'all were in a pretty good place with him at it. He set up a lot of meetings, but it's almost like nobody's listening. I kind of started this journey with the bridge. You know, when my brother passed away, he worked down at Old Stoneport Golf Course. After he retired, he was a marshal down there at the course. When he passed away, in memory, I wanted to put a park bench, a Hollywood park bench, on one of the trails we used to go when we were kids. I called the park ranger. Oh no, you would have to belong to Friends of Old Stoneport Park. You know, and then they would have to vote on it. Then it would have to go to a state bureaucracy. And then they would have to meet and determine if that was possible. About that time, I found out they were in the process of tearing the bridge down. And, you know, we got one of the most diverse rivers in the country. And I think a lot of this is our hometown, this is our county. And sometimes government gets in the way, it gets too big. You stop listening to the people, what the people want. This makes no sense whatsoever. I can't believe that we're still discussing this. Why would you want to spend $8.5, $12 million and you say, well, we got this Build Back Better money, free money, not going to be paid for by the state, the feds are going to pay for it. It's still our money. Everyone in here is paying for it, and we don't want it. Besides, I mean, I mentioned a while ago, all the endangered species, there's 42 right in that river that are endangered. You're going to endanger them further with this project. You're not bringing in any experts other than your own policemen to check it out and make sure it's good. You know, it just, to me, it makes no sense, this project, to go forward at all.
Hello, thank you for coming. My name's Gordon Reevy. I live in the neighborhood. I'm a professional engineer. I've worked on a few bridges, San Francisco to Oakland Bay Bridge, and many other big bridges around the United States. And I've helped author environmental impact studies. You know, as mandated when work was done near sensitive environmental resources by the Army Corps of Engineers. And I learned at the last meeting when I spoke to a nice woman, a young engineer that works for TDOT, that you got an exclusion from the Army Corps to do a permit, an environmental impact report, an EIR, for this project, which is just bizarre to me because on those reports, all the people and their qualifications and what they studied and what species they looked at, it's all on the record, and it's shared with the public. And what you're doing is just shameful, saying, well, we have people that did this, we don't know what they looked at. And nothing's on the record. There's no public documents being shared showing the qualifications, the names of the people, who did what. And earlier in this meeting, you explained how many feet of riprap and what would be replaced and would be put back. And for the record, I'm making comments now. So now that the tape recorder's on, you know, I can't ask a question. And you said somebody might answer a question later, but we got to ask questions earlier off the record that aren't, and so those answers aren't on the record either, I presume. My question is, were all of those impacts written into the documents and the emails that were sent to the Army Corps of Engineers to get that exclusion? I want that on the record right now. And maybe I hope somebody will give us an answer, because that just to me is amazingly unbelievable that you got that exclusion for a river as important as this one.
My name is Mike Coney, and I'm here, what I'd like to talk about is something that Deb mentioned was the risk to benefit part of this project. First, let's talk about the risk. Okay, the Duck River is the most biodiverse river in North America. It's home to aquatics, snails, mussels, and 151 species of fish. Many of the ducks that settled around the Duck River are federally listed on the endangered and threatened list. With this being said, it is also one of the 3 most endangered rivers in North America. Some of the negative things that can affect this construction on the river is silt, as was talked about earlier, that will have an effect on the mussels. Gravel that'll be washed up in the river, and heaven forbid any chemical spills that might happen there. And you could say that they're gonna have mitigation stuff all over the place, but accidents still happen. Run over something that punctures a gas tank or a diesel tank, now you've got a spill that's gonna affect that river. And you're not gonna be able to get it back to the original condition. Now let's talk about the benefits. That's the risk that you're gonna be taking. There are no benefits. There's no benefits to doing this. There's already another entrance to the park there. The cost to repair the current bridge is less than 10% of what you're planning on spending to put this new bridge in. And finally, to repair the existing bridge over the Duck River wouldn't harm any of the aquatic that's in the river. And I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
My name is Gary Kennedy. I'm the president of the Old Stone Fort Bridge Preservation Group. I was elected to this position because I felt compelled to assist doing what's morally right. I spent 29 years in the Army National Guard for the state of Tennessee on that flag back there. And I did so because I believed in a government of the people, by the people, for the people, that will listen to the will of the people. There are times when the majority's wrong. We've seen that in our national history. And that's when the Constitution kicks in and says, even though you're the majority, you don't get to do that to other people. Here's my greatest concern about all of this, and it's not about a lovely bridge that people love out there, is that this process is extremely biased against the people. You all come in here with years of experience, maybe months or years studying this issue, or studying this river, or designing a bridge out there. And then you expect the public, within a 30-day period, to gather enough information, ostensibly through the Freedom of Information Act, which we have to request from you, and then get denied and denied and delayed and delayed. In addition to that, then you limit somebody's public comment to 3 minutes. If you and I were talking about the engine of your car needing to be replaced, we'd have a gentleman conversation for a while, and it may take us a half hour to make that decision, to come to terms with that. Tell me the last time, if ever, that somebody in the public has stood here, a citizen, or written you a letter, that it changed your mind, that it actually moved you to do something different that you hadn't already determined months and months and months ahead that you damn well were going to do. When has that occurred? I want that recorded. I want that question answered. So this gentleman gives me a minute. I'm supposed to make my case in a minute, that you all refuse to listen to the people. You, Mr. Yost, Mr. Mike Robertson, at a meeting January 4th in Murfreesboro, you said, we're going to keep an open mind. Well, of course we're interested in what you all have to say. We will leave no stone unturned before we act upon this. That was January the 4th. Since that date, until you all published a letter in the newspaper circumventing the whole process of our proposal of getting an estimate from bridge experts, that whole period of time between January the 4th in the middle of March, when you all did that, no person in your agency ever called me, texted me, emailed me, written me a snail letter, in any way communicated with me, or as far as I know, any of the 12 directors on our board to preserve the bridge. If you all plead that you are going to give careful consideration to public input, then we expect you to do it. I want to display something just a second, because this is the way the people feel, right here. We feel that we are locked behind a fence, and that you all are sitting here with legislation and money, and Mr. Ward saying, we have a legal right to tear down your bridge. A legal right. You're going to tell the people of this community, you're going to convince us you're doing the right thing by quoting that you have a legal right?
Sir, your time's up. Thank you.
It's a waste of time talking to you. It needs to be here. Thank you, sir.
One other, if anybody else who hadn't had a chance to comment would like to, ma'am, please come to the microphone.
So Gary, what do you feel everything, did we accomplish anything today?
I think we did, because they got to see something they did not expect. The young ladies who are in the water quality control department there, I talked with them at length afterwards, and certainly told them that I was being demonstrative primarily for the people that would be watching it after tonight, that I think Commissioner Salyers and the director of the park system, Mike Robertson, really need to know how passionate the people are about this and how reasoned our arguments are, and that we are tired of being ignored.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the two ladies that were in charge of the water quality, they actually agreed with me and said they did. They said, we understand. She says, we don't ever have a crowd like this at these things. She says, you know, occasionally you get somebody that's angry about something or whatever, but for the most part, we absolutely understand what you're saying about the bridge. And those decisions are made long before it ever gets to a point of asking for a water permit, and that they are incredibly hard to stop once they get to that point.
Right.
So I'm going to have to follow a legal injunction, I think.
Yeah.
We're prepared to do that. But also, I think it's time for our governor to actually get notified.
Yeah.
I've sent 8 registered letters to him and others and gotten no response whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, I'm assuming that they follow our Facebook pages.
Yeah. Well,
I've never gotten a comment from anybody in the state at all. Never gotten a letter, never gotten an email, never gotten a text, never even gotten a handwritten, a snail mail, if you will, a U.S. Post Office mail. I've never received anything from them in 4 months until they published in the paper that they were rejecting our proposal that they never discussed with us.